second session. We now go to the Lake Whatcom Reservoir Natural Resources Committee chaired by Dan Hamill.
Thank you, Gene. The City of Bellingham has been awarded a $200,000 grant from the Rose Foundation for the construction of the Little Squalicum Creek Estuary Restoration Project. Funding was contingent upon securing matching grants in the amount of $400,000, which the City has secured from the Department of Ecology in the amount of $210,000 and the Port of Bellingham in the amount of $100,000. The City will contribute the remaining $90,000. Public Works Department is requesting Council to approve approval to accept the Rose Foundation grant. And here to explain more is Director Ted Carlson.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Ted Carlson, Public Works Department. I think that was a very good summary. This is authorization from the Council to allow the Mayor to enter into the agreement with the Rose Foundation. As it said in the summary statement, this was contingent on the City being awarded matching funds from the Department of Ecology, which we recently did receive confirmation of. So the matching funds are in place. We would like to move forward with this project and request authorization from the Council for the Mayor to enter into the agreement. Renee is here if you have any questions about the project itself. She can certainly answer those.
Thank you. I was remiss on identifying fellow committee members with me today. Our Councilmember Weiss, and sitting in for Councilmember Vargas is Michael Lilliquist. And Michael, do you have a question?
I do have a small question. So these sums add up to around $600,000 for the Little Squalicum Creek Estuary restoration. What is the overall estimated price for that project, and do we have the balance of that project funding secure?
The estimated price at this point is about $1.5 million.
1.5.
And we're anticipating the additional funding is going to come from the Department of Ecology. They, in their last biennial budget, there was money for this program, but it was greatly reduced. And so the Department of Ecology is having internal conversations as to how they're going to disperse that money.
Member Lilliquist, then Member Weiss.
Will we be anticipating more contribution from the City of Bellingham? This $90,000 is from, I'm not sure, Natural Resource Protection and Restoration Fund.
Right.
Are we expecting more contributions from the city, and if so, from what fund would they be drawn?
For the estuary project itself, we're not anticipating any more contributions from the city.
Thank you.
So Renee, my recollection is that most of this land where the estuary project is going to be actually is owned by the county.
Correct.
Okay. Are they? What is their participation in this other than just to say, okay, do this? Are they looking at doing a long-term transfer of the property to us, as we had talked about in the past?
This property, so it's an amalgamation of city property and county property, and the Parks Department is the lead on management and those agreements with the county to use the land as a park. So it would be a question for the Parks Department. But for the estuary project itself, the project was approved through a master planning process back in 2009. So it went through a full-blown community process where all the city departments worked together to establish what the goal was for that area. It went through a city process. It was adopted by council. And as part of that, I think the lease with the county was either looked at that time or was renewed at that time. And I can get back to you with more specific details.
Sitting right behind you.
You want to weigh in? Sorry, I was listening. What are you talking? So the question is the Little Squalicum Estuary. The property is an amalgamation of the city and the county. What is the relationship of the county on the Little Squalicum Estuary and Little Squalicum Park?
Hi, James King, Parks and Recreation Department. Good afternoon. So we have, the ownership is mixed in there, as you pointed out, both Whatcom County and the city. Parks Department manages that piece. There has been discussion of consolidating those at some point. We have not done that. As you will remember, we went through a very large cleanup there, maybe 5-ish years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. In a couple of different areas. Public Works was involved with that as well. So it's still sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. So it is still mishmash of ownership. We're working together with the county to manage it so it seems seamless to the public.
Yeah, it would be nice, especially with triggering this type of project, it would be nice to be able to clean up our titles with the county and, you know, create a city park, especially if we're, you know, potentially annexing the area around there as part of the annexation plans that we would have in the planning department.
So we've been having ongoing discussions with the county about doing that.
Okay, thanks.
Councilmember Lillquist.
I move to recommend approval accepting the Rose Foundation grant.
I just have one clarifying question. The exact location of this, it's identified here as just east of the Nooksack River Delta in Whatcom County. So is that north of the Little Squalicum Creek area?
It is the Little Squalicum Creek area. So you know where the concrete pier comes out?
Yes.
There's a little creek right there. So the idea of the estuary is to create an estuary just in that location where the big field is now.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously, and I'll bring this recommendation to full council this evening, end of committee.
Thank you very much, Dan. We now have to wait another minute or two, and then we'll go to Park